Hey guys, I've been playing a lot of Dragon Ball Z Kakarot today. I'm like 5.5 hours in. I'm starting the Frieza Saga, the Namek Saga basically. So I'm not too far into the game, but I think I've seen enough to give you some first impressions on what I think about it. So real quick, there are some things I really like and some things I really don't like. The graphics are great. It looks great. The effects on the explosions, the way you move, the way the grass will be ripped off when you fly too close to the ground, and stuff like that is much better than I've seen in basically every other Dragon Ball game. The RPG stuff, the open world elements are okay. You know, it's something to distract you from the main goal of the game or the main sequences of the game, and as such they are okay. Hunting animals and picking apples from trees and stuff like that is fine. The fishing minigame and stuff like that, it's, you know, it's serviceable. But it's not anything... I mean, it's not the reason why you're considering buying this game. I think the main reason people should consider to buy this game is how well they tell the Dragon Ball story, and in that case, the cutscenes are really good and it's really faithful to the anime. But the thing is, the voice acting isn't that great. It's the same as basically every single one of these games. You know, the voice lines seem to be delivered by someone who, I don't know, the Bulma voice actress was handed a page with 500 voice lines and they were like, okay, read your voice lines. You know, absolutely no context, no timing, nothing given to the voice acting.
Bulma, you still got that dragon radar?
Oh, I get it! That decoration on Gohan's hat was a Dragon Ball!
At this point, it's sad that it's not better because it should be. Because we've had Dragon Ball games telling this same story for decades, and this doesn't do it much better. You know, it's fine. I played the Budokai Tenkaichi games back then and I thought the retelling of the story was fine. And it's fine here. It's not perfect. The voice acting is okay, but it's not, you know, it's not great. The other part I'm interested in discussing is the combat, which I thought would be the biggest letdown of this game coming in, and I thought about not even buying the game, and the combat is kind of weird. The stuff I like is the combos, the way you move around in the air is okay. It's like Xenoverse. You have a basic combo attack which you can finish with an energy attack or with an energy shield attack, which pushes your enemy back and gives you a little bit of ki back, or a regular punch. And after that, you usually want to follow up with an energy attack like a Kamehameha or a Masenko and stuff like that, because when you send someone flying, sometimes you have the ability to follow them and sometimes you don't, and so far it's not really clear why. And maybe this will be something to do with the abilities. At least that's what the game leads me to believe, that at some point you can upgrade your abilities and will be able to do more follow-up attacks. And that will be really cool when the time comes, but at first, at the start of the game, that's not the case. So you're generally wanting to follow up an attack with an energy blast because the enemy won't be blocking. And speaking about blocking, this is what I really don't like about the combat so far. Every single enemy encounter that you have, basically the boss encounters with Raditz, with Vegeta, with Nappa and so on, they have invulnerability at some points. Whenever they charge up and have an aura around them, they are invulnerable. Well, that's not entirely correct. They still take damage, but you can't stagger them. You can't interrupt whatever attack it is that they will be doing in the next couple of seconds. So that leaves you basically having to block for extended periods of time, because sometimes there's not even a way to evade these attacks. Sometimes you can, but most times you're better off just holding block and hoping for the best, because your block can also be broken. So sometimes you're caught in a really bad spot and there's no way to evade a prolonged attack. You can dodge, but not really, because sometimes the attack is so massive that even if you do dodge, you're still inside the area of effect. So I don't know, you're basically reduced to blocking. So whenever the enemy, which is, you know, pretty often, whenever it is that they are in this unstaggerable state, you can't really go off and perform long combos. You can get a few hits in, and then you have to dodge or block or move out of the way before they do that attack that they are charging, because they will do that attack regardless of whatever it is that you are doing. There's even this surge state, which is when your yellow bar is all the way full, you charge up your key, and you will go into an increased damage and knockback state, which should negate all these effects, but it doesn't. So if you go into that state while the enemy decides to attack to do a long combo which is unblockable, I'm sorry, it's not unblockable, but you know, you can't interrupt it. You won't be able to interrupt it even though you're in the surge state. So that means sometimes you end up completely misusing your energy and your surge state, because there is no way to know, at least so far. You know, the game has only been out for 1 day, so maybe later at some point with some deep analyzing of the gameplay and stuff, you will be able to tell, you know, at this point you should do this attack and then you should guard and stuff like that. But right now, and for most people playing the game, there's gonna be a lot of missed opportunities and missed resources. So it plays, in a sense, like a traditional JRPG where you have to defend. Think Final Fantasy, right? In Final Fantasy, sometimes a boss or an enemy will charge up an attack and you're supposed to block for the next round. Your next action is supposed to be a block and not an attack. So you block that attack and receive damage, but not as much as you would if you weren't blocking, and then you move on. This, unfortunately, is the same way, and that's not the way Dragon Ball is. Another thing that's not the way Dragon Ball is these key blasts that go across the entire screen, where you basically have to hold R2 to move freely across the screen, and you have to move and dodge these, I don't know, destructo disc looking attacks. That it's different, so I guess that's okay, but it's not Dragon Ball, it's something else, and the combat system as a whole, it's fine. I think the Xenoverse combat system is better, and certainly the Budokai Tenkaichi system is way better. I've done a video on that, so check it out. And I don't know, it's fine. If you're thinking about buying this game, should you buy it for $60? I don't think so. I think you should wait for a sale. I think you should get it at 30, at 40, at 20, at whatever value proposition is right for you. But what you should know about getting into this game, because, you know, what's fun about Dragon Ball as a video game is the Dragon Ball fights. The combos, the Kamehameha, the sending someone flying, and stuff like that. And you can do that, but there is also no free practice. So, at least not at this point in the game, and it doesn't seem like something that will open up until much later. If it even is in the game, which I think it is. I think I've read somewhere that later you can go on and fight different enemies and maybe relive certain battles and stuff like that. But so far, the only way you have to practice, which I actually really recommend you do and you try this out, is basically reloading the game and fighting the same fight over and over until you understand and get a better concept of the game mechanics and the combat mechanics in the game. There is a teleport, for example, the vanishing attacks, which is L2 and A or X if you're playing on PlayStation. I'm playing with the PlayStation controller on the PC, which prompts the Xbox commands, so I don't know, whatever. The way the vanishing attacks work is basically if you press L2 and X at the same time, you will teleport behind the enemy and hit them hard, which should send them flying, but it won't if they're in the middle of one of their attacks, their special attacks, where they're sending energy beams or one of the special, the unstunnable attacks. So also the range at which you can perform this isn't very clear. It's not at any range. If you're too far away, it will do nothing. It will just block. So you need to be at a fairly close distance for this to work, and it can help you escape some attacks, but the main problem is that this is a game that plays like Dragon Ball in a sense, but then you have a lot of stuff that you can't attack through. You have to block, you have to wait for the attack to end or dodge, but you have to respect that enemy attack. And there's nothing, absolutely nothing that you can do against it. And that, to me, I just realized that that's the way the game is a couple of hours ago, and it's a huge bummer because it's a needless way to complicate and deviate the otherwise good combat system from what this game is or what the game should be, in my opinion. So yeah, that's it. I'm gonna keep playing it. I'm going to upload some videos about it, some tips or some helpful information or a additional review once I'm at one of the later stages in the game. But if you're thinking about buying this, just be aware that when people say that the combat system is RPG focused, that's what they mean. They mean that this plays like basically you have to wait for your turn, you have to wait for your turn to attack, you have to respect when you have to defend. And personally, I think that's a shame. There's a couple of cool things to the fights. At some point I triggered a Kamehameha ending to the fight with Raditz, and the camera zoomed in on Goku and it was really cool and the visuals were amazing. And I don't know, I hope there's more of that, but so far it doesn't seem like the basics of the combat system are going to change. That's the way the fighting system is. So, I don't know, that will be all for now. As always, if you liked the video, if you enjoyed my commentary, click the subscribe button, leave a comment, share the video with your friends, your family, your dog, whatever, and that's it. Thanks for watching, and I will catch you in the next one.